Hello everyone, welcome to Tactica Imperialis and to today's video. Today is going to be another My Thoughts On video, and today I wanted to talk about Shadowspear. Shadowspear is the newest Warhammer 40,000 box game. It just got revealed over the weekend, and I want to have a little bit of a talk about it. I apologise this video is going out a little bit later than probably everybody else. I mean, that's nothing new for me, but I basically had other commitments on Sunday night when Shadowspear came out, so I didn't see it until like 10:30 at night, and then I had other uni commitments for Monday morning, so sorry, you're gonna have to wait a day, but hey, here we are. So, I've got to be honest, I wasn't really sure how I was going to feel about Shadowspear going in, because some of the models we'd seen for it looked really nice, the Master of Possessions, and I've forgotten his name already, Captain like Araken or something, who's the Primeras leader. We'd seen like the Librarian, the Snipers, one of the Obliterators, the Venom Crawler, a couple of Space Marines. I wasn't quite sure how much more we were going to get out of this reveal that we hadn't already seen, particularly on the Chaos side, because we'd seen almost everything. But there were still some interesting things in here, so let's dive in. So, first off, we've got the full contents of the box. We'll go into the full details a little bit further down in this video, but that is the full set of stuff. I'll just expand that image for you. There you go. So in there you have, on the Chaos side, you've got the Master of Possession, the Venom Crawler, Obliterators, the Greater Possessed, there's two of those, I'll discuss what I think that means in a minute, as well as a unit of Chaos Space Marines. And on the Primeras side, you've got their Captain, their Librarian, you've got a unit of 10 dudes, we haven't got a name for them at the time of recording this video, the Eliminators, I think their name is, the Snipers, and flying dudes with autocannons. Again, we don't have a name for them yet, so I'm just going to go off the interesting name. So, pretty decent amount of stuff in there. I mean, look at it in terms of pure model count. You're looking at about 15 on the Chaos side, and actually it's 15 on both sides now that I look at it. But it's 4 units per side. 1, 2, 3, 4... 5 actually on the Primeras side, and 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 units on both sides. Sorry, I can't do mathematics this morning. So it's not a bad outlay of stuff. Compared to Dark Imperium, it's a lot less dudes than Dark Imperium, but then again, I suppose if you compare it to other box games that we've had, like Tooth and Claw, Wait the Dead, and so on, I think it's pretty decent. And obviously with everything being a brand new sculpt, that has to account for something. So first off, we have the Demonkin, the Chaos Forces, and these guys are probably what most people are hyped for, because most people care probably about getting Chaos renovated as opposed to Primeras updated. So you've got your 10 Chaos Space Marines. They built them here to have a Power Axe Champion, a Plasma Gun, and a Reaper and an autocannon, although I don't remember Chaos actually having an autocannon before. I remember them having the Reaper autocannon, which was the double barrel thing you found on their tanks, but I don't remember them having an actual autocannon upgrade. Then again, Space Marines never really had it that much either, but still, cool to see. You've got the 2 Greater Possessed at the back. We'd seen one of them in a preview article before. We've got 2 Obliterators, again we'd seen one of them in a preview before, and we've got the Venom Crawler, which of course we had seen previously, as well as the Master of Possession front and centre. I've got to say, they are some lovely, lovely designs. The Chaos Space Marines look suitably corrupt and baroque and evil. I do really approve of the Chaos Space Marine designs. The Obliterators, I've said in previous videos, and I've talked about them, look majestic. I particularly like the one that we'd seen previously. The new one that's at the back of this image, I'm not sure if it's a bit further down in the article, so I'll scroll down through the showcase images and see if we get a closer look at it. And we do. It looks static-y and almost like a dreadnought. I mean, that's not a bad thing at all. It's just it looks a bit stock standard. It's kind of a very dreadnought pose, I suppose, is what I'm getting at. The Greater Possessed, we see there a bit closer up. I do really like both designs, but it's interesting that there's 2 of them, because I was under the assumption that the Greater Possessed was kind of going to serve as the counter to Captain Araken. So the Librarian and the Master of Possessions, they've got psychic powers, I'm assuming. They'll cancel each other out in terms of power level. And then the Greater Possessed Champion would sort of go against the Captain. And then the Marines and the Marines. And then you'd have... Actually, that wouldn't really balance up. But I sort of assumed that the Greater Possessed was going to be a hero unit. However, the fact that there's two of them makes me think that they're not going to be a hero unit. And they're just going to be a very small elite unit, which I find interesting. I'm not going to say it's a bad idea, it's just I wasn't expecting that, and I'd love a possessed champion to be a thing. So hopefully the Greater Possessed are maybe like Mech Boys, where they're a upgrade, or like they're an elite slot character, or something like that, so they're not like on HQ level, and you can use multiple of them, but... I don't know. I'm just surprised to see two of them in one starter box. I'd have thought they'd have worked better as a hero unit, in my humble opinion. A bit of a close look at... I think we've seen those Chaos Space Marines before, but as I said, they do look lovely. Scroll down here. And then we have the Primeras Vanguard Space Marines. Load. Yeah, here we go. So, I've talked about the Primeras Librarian before. I think he looks brilliant. I love the slightly darker armor tone as opposed to normal Ultramarines. I love the camo on the robes, and I think that's a really lovely design. Captain Araken, I think, looks really cool. There's a few extra details on there, but you'll see what we're sort of talking about in Adeptus Podcasters when that comes out tomorrow, so make sure you're watching 40k Theories for that. The Eliminators we'd seen before, I think they look great. The regular guys, again, we don't have their name yet, I think look suitably elite covert ops, and the flying dudes with autocannons, they really need a new name, I think look really nice. Admittedly, they're very easy to meme, like, they would immediately meme to be on trampolines, but there you go. So you get a bit of a look at them up close. You can see sort of some design cues taken from the Inceptors, in terms of like having the little grav veins on the back. I like the little ramps, or the little cushion pads on their feet. I'm not sure quite what that does, but I like the idea that because they're covert ops, they use them sort of to cushion their landing so they don't land with such a thud. Or maybe they're used to give them an extra boost when they take off. I'm not sure. The weapons look really cool. They're obviously hilariously oversized for jump troops, but it kind of works because it's Space Marines. I'm kind of down with that. So yeah, they're fine. Although, I see a bendy flying stand. I'm not sure how well they're going to work with bendy flying stands. And then we get a few close-ups of the operatives. I'm going to call them operatives. And they look pretty cool. I particularly like this guy here. He looks like... I'm assuming he's the sergeant, and he looks like a badass. Because he's got his scoped bolt rifle. He's got the little veins on his back as well, which I find interesting. So maybe I'm seeing less cues from the Inceptors in the jump troops than I'm supposed to. I don't know. I'm really not sure, because the normal guys don't have them, and this guy does. So is this guy actually like a separate hero unit? Maybe I've got this completely ass backwards, and this guy's actually a separate hero unit. If so, that's very interesting, and raises questions as to why the Greater Possessed is not a hero unit. But here we are. It does look very, very cool, though. The two knives is just... yeah, that's just slightly overkill and silly, but it works because it's 40k. As for the regular operatives themselves, I'm just going to expand this image. I like the smoke grenade. I think that's a really nice touch to have him almost be throwing a smoke grenade, because it's something that a covert ops sort of guy would do. You've got the sergeant, or this guy here, checking his all specs and signaling his squad. I think that's a really nice touch. The guy over on the right-hand side, he's got like another all specsy thing built into his arm as well, which is really cool. And they're not just in standard, we're holding our guns, we're firing our guns. They're in all sorts of different action poses that make them distinct from just more Space Marines, which I like. And the fact they're all kitted out, you can see they got the extra pouches for carrying, presumably, ammo. They've got another one on their side. They've got these like communication, I'm assuming, veins on the backs of the backpacks or at the sides of their heads. I think that they look really, really nice, and they suit covert ops guys very, very nicely. And the fact that, like, the guy who's, again, he's got his allspace, he's holding his pistol in one hand, but he's still got a bolt rifle at his side. I think that's just a really simple touch. So they do look like they're equipped to go behind enemy lines for a long period of time, suitable for any mission. I think that really works. So, yep, that's cool. So just before we move on for the miniatures, I'm going to go back up to the top and we'll have a look at the whole box together. I do have one minor critique, and it's something that, again, we'll be talking about on Adeptus Podcasters. So this wasn't out when we did Adeptus Podcasters, for the record, if I don't make that clear while we were recording that. I do worry that these models are very converter unfriendly. So I've seen confirmed that these guys are going to be easy to build in the same manner as Dark Imperium. So, fine. That's nice. Easy to build models are always useful, at least if they're done not like Soul Wars, because Soul Wars was a nightmare. I think it's good that they are going to be easy to build, because some of those kits can be probably quite intimidating for new players, like the Venom Crawler, the Obliterators are probably quite intimidating, so I think that's a good thing. But they're just so detailed. And you might think that's a really good thing, because it allows them to put more detail into the models, make them look more distinct, more unique, and it does. Like I've talked about with the Chaos Space Marines and all the extra Baroque gilding and corrupted details, looks lovely, and the Primeras with all the extra details, they've got sculpted onto their chests and their arms and their legs, and the helmets and the backpacks. It's really fantastic detail, and they do look excellent. But if you are someone who wants to do, say, a conversion set with this, before they release these models as standalone plastic kits, which they inevitably will, I do worry that you're not going to be able to get any versatility out of them, well, whatsoever. And if you're wanting to do actual proper hardcore conversion, as opposed to just, like, swapping a pistol for a different pistol, if you want to do something really, really cool, like maybe give Captain Araken the sniper rifle, and use him as a sergeant. I don't know. Or I honestly don't know what sort of conversion you want to do. I'm not that skilled. I get the feeling that they're just going to be really difficult to work with and to make into anything that isn't them. And they're also very busy. So if you're a painter who has maybe a slightly unsteady hand, or who is relatively inexperienced and isn't very good at painting fine details, it could be quite intimidating to look at these models and think, how on earth am I going to paint these? Because they are so detailed, which is great for the experienced hobbyists and those who value distinctness of models and those sorts of things, and that's great. But if you're someone who's maybe new to painting or wants to try out converting, this is not going to be a very friendly kit for you. So I hope when we get the regular kits, which I'm sure we will, that they're a little bit more toned down. The Primaris Librarian, I think, is probably the best kit here in terms of elegant design without overdoing it, because he's got detail, which we've seen before, but it's not overdone to the point of, like, there's no details left untouched. It's like, if I just zoom in a little bit on him, can I do that? Let's see, how does that look? Yeah, so you sort of look at the Primaris Librarian. A lot of the details there are a bit more freehandish, like the symbol here, the symbol on the knees. There's a few sculpted details, but not as many as, say, Araken, who is absolutely festooned with them. And hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's an actual hero dude. Yeah, the dude with 2 knives is actually a character. I'm not sure I agree with that, because unless the Greater Possessed are both heroes, then I guess we'll see. But that's not all that's coming with this box. I just scrolled past the models for a minute. Yes, because this is 2 basically brand new armies, well, it's a brand new army and some brand new units for an old army, they're going to be new codices. So Vanguard Primaris, or Vanguard Space Marines, is going to get its own mini codex as part of Shadowspear, as will Chaos Demonkin, which I'll just bring up here. You can tell which one got the brand new art and which didn't. Heretic Astartes gets Demonkin. And what's nice about them is, as they say here, they're going to be fully standalone codices. You've got Warlord traits, Psychic powers, Legion rules, Chapter rules, Match play points. So you can actually build a full army just off of the Vanguard and the Demon kit. And I think that's really nice, because it means that new players who are just buying the game for the very first time can buy Shadowspear and immediately be introduced to all the core concepts of the game. So all the chapter tactics options are there for them if they wish to use them. Match play points are there if they wish to expand their armies alongside their friends and work from there. They don't have to buy Codex Space Marines or Codex Chaos Space Marines to get all the fancy gizmos that they want out of the gate. So I think that's a very nice touch, and I really do approve of that, and I hope we see that more in future. Finally, there's a campaign booklet on Nemendgast. There's been a few stories coming out from Vigilus over the coming last few days and weeks, and it's basically, the premise is Nemendgast got caught in the Cicatrix Maledictum. It's been turned into a demon world, and it's now ruled over by this Master of Possessions who is using its forges. I think it's got a primary forge, I've forgotten its name, and that's his sort of base of operations where he's creating demon engines by the bucket load. And Calgar has realised that Nemendgast is far too dangerous as a staging point because it's far too close to Vigilus itself. So if Abaddon and co get a proper foothold and can push and use it as a staging point, then Vigilus is in all kinds of trouble. So he sent in these covert operatives to sabotage the operation and possibly even kill the Master of Possessions. They realize they probably can't destroy the forge, but they can certainly delay and perhaps even cripple the Chaos forces whilst they're there. Which I think is a really nice story. It's a good basis. It's not just, oh, Chaos is doing something, the Imperium has to come in and save the day and kick butt. They've realized they can't really win this one. So they're sort of, right, we'll do what we can, we'll try and sabotage, take out their leadership, slow them down, and that should hopefully give us time to deal with whatever's coming to Vigilus. I should stress that at the time I'm recording this video, the Vigilus countdown is not quite done. So if it were done, I get the feeling that we'll be seeing the Abaddon model when that countdown comes to an end. And if actually, oh no, I'm in labs all day tomorrow. I might make a separate video like next Monday where I'll talk about Abaddon and all the other things that come out over the next few days. But I wanted to give my initial thoughts on Shadowspear as a full box before we got on. Each mission is playable with any force. Yeah, so it doesn't really talk much in here about whether they're going to be doing another book. So what I mean by that is they don't stress here whether there's going to be more specialist detachments. So in Vigilus Defiant, Book 1, there was a series of specialist detachments, a series of extra rules and missions that you could add to your armies. For all armies, not all armies, but more armies than just the protagonist of the box set. Admittedly, there'd been a lot of box sets on Vigilus up to that point, because it's Planet box set, but I don't know. I just hope we'll get something like that going forward as well. Anyway, I realise I've rambled on for far too long. So, thank you very much for watching this video. This has been my thoughts on Shadowspear, the models, the upcoming rules. We don't really know any of them yet, but hopefully over the next few days we'll see them, and I might do another video at the end of the week collating everything together, and hopefully talking about Abaddon, because I can't wait to see what happens when that 80-day countdown finally hits 0. So, thank you very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This has been Tactica Imperialis, and this has been my thoughts on Shadowspear. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all again. Bye for now.